Okay, all right. So when you use this from JSON, what you are going to get is there will be a order column, okay, which contains array of your all the fields. Okay, so all this will be as a different fields in your column. Okay, so it will be like this array of different columns. If you print this schema of data frame 2, it will be like orders is a one column, then you will have one more column as timestamp. And
Sir,
then
could you please explain that that struct type once again?
yeah, so whenever you want to build a schema for your data frame, okay, so you just have to use the struct type. Uh, so so if it is say example, if it is the array, then if it you have to specify the array type. So basically struct type will help you to form the JSON form the schema for your JSON structure. So this has to be the using the struct type, and it will have multiple struct fields. So each struct field actually meant for if people would have used the struct field as a data type, this way also you can form it. So struct type dot individual fields. Okay, say
So
example.
the order of this, the order of this columns which we need to define as same as our input file, right?
Yes, correct.
So
Different
we need to
orders,
know.
Yeah, different form, different order. I'm not sure whether if you change and give whether, but at least all the columns should be same structures will be same. Order probably I did not change the different order and try it out. Maybe we can try it out. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you are sending, that's what. See, when we are doing the producer, are we going to get the column names also? Because
Yes,
it will be a string.
Yeah, it's basically a string format. See, whatever you published here, the same this structure, right? This is how we publish. Actually, this is the if you talk in the Python data type terminology, it's a dictionary object, right? You pass a key and value.
Right. Correct.
So the same key.
My question is line number 102 to 110. If I did a change of this order, let's assume if I put order city name in 109, right? Line number 109. If I put that one in the above or below, okay. But my producer will pass the values. Means, do we need to follow the same order as our producer, or even if we while creating this order schema, even if you be this order, then also will it pick the correct values, or how to do?
I think it will pick correct. Even order change also, I think not a problem. Because see, from the JSON structure, it will go and look for the key, I guess. But we will check it out. I did not check it. We will check it out.
Yeah, but while you are getting the byte array data, right? So are we getting the column names also in that?
Yeah, we converted. Not this step we converted.
Yeah, there we will get only the output values, right? That means record value only, not the header values, correct?
No, header value also.
So for each record, we are getting the header value also.
Yeah. That is one of the what to say disadvantage in the JSON structure, right? Advantage is there, both disadvantage is there. Since you will have a column information, but thing is the data will grow because each your record you will have a schema as well as a value as well as a column.
Yeah. Okay.
That's how JSON.
Okay.
So yeah, so struct field, struct type, and then individual struct fields. So I'm not using the struct field data type here. Instead of that, just dot add of we are using the column name. Okay, generally you would have seen the schema definition. Struct field of individual, you'll say again array type of struct fields. There's a different format, but it's the same, whatever different way we can define a schema. But end of the day, the structure is same. Struct fields will have the multiple, struct type will have the multiple struct fields. Each struct fields nothing but your columns. Again, it can be of any type based on the input structure. Mine is more of flattened structure. It's not a nested one, right? You see all are flattened one. If you do the next structure, you have to specify the nested structure also. Any other question? Okay, all right. I'll move next. Let me know if you have any question. I will just say this. Okay, all right. We'll come back here. And so now, so when we have this data frame 2, it will have the new column, which is an orders column. The column name is orders and timestamp. So if you also, I told the format will be like this. So array of your individual columns will be there. Now we just have to bring into the flattened structure like data frame with all these are individual columns instead of orders, which will have all the columns. If you want to make like a flattened structure, data frame with order ID as one column and order product name as one column, you just access using the dot operator, like orders dot star if you provide, and then comma the timestamp column. Then the data frame 3 will have the data frame 3 will have the directly you will access the columns. No need to access using the orders column. Okay. Here also I can just go and use say orders dot order ID. If you get, then it will get this column value. But we want to bring it to the normal table format. So we just use the dot operator to change it. So now data frame 3, if you see the schema of data frame 3, it will start from order ID a column, order product name column, other stuff. And then, okay, now we want to do a 2-step process, right? One is writing this the flattened data frame data, which is considered to be a raw data, into HDFS. We want to write into HDFS, and then do the aggregate and write the aggregate data into MySQL. So before writing into HDFS, what I'm going to do is, so this is going to be a long running job, which is all streaming applications are 24/7 jobs. So instead of dumping, say I can provide some HDFS path, right? So this is where I'm writing into HDFS. I'm going to data frame dot write stream. So generally we use data frame for batch API. We use data frame dot write here write stream, and you set the trigger interval. So this is where we set the batch interval, right? So every 10 seconds, whatever the data is processed in the data frame will be written into the target or sink. So I'm writing into HDFS in a Parquet format, and I'm going to give the path. This is the path. Okay, I will change it to different. This I given written into local path, so I will change into HDFS path, but same. So where I'm writing, there's some root folder, and inside this I create a subfolder called raw. So it will keep on dumping the data into this raw folder. I won't actually segregate the data based on the date. Okay, so I don't want to dump everything into one folder, right? So for that, dynamically we want to generate the date folder. Okay, so based on we have an order date column, right? We can actually extract the date from the order date, and then we can instruct the data frame to write the data into the daily data, like date based. You can write the data into based on the order date. Okay, say example, today is the 6th August. All the data consumed in the 6th August will be written into the 6th August date folder inside the raw data. So that's how I want to make it, so that the downstream application, right, whether my team is doing the further processing based on the raw data, or maybe another team is doing, so they can go and consume the on particular which date they want to process, or they want to process entire data also, they can take based on the root directory. So all the stuff they can, it's one of the a proper way to write your data in an organized manner. So that's the reason I'm creating a 2 columns. One is a partition date column, where we say to date from the ordered date time column. So order date time comes with both the date component and the timestamp like time component. Our date will be in this format: YYY and DD and sorry, month, and DD, and hours, minute, second. So to date will extract the date format from this date time, and to extract the hour, right, from this, we have to convert into a timestamp, unique timestamp column using the function called toTimestamp, and we need to provide what format the current date time is there. So this is the format it is there, and so this function will give you the unique timestamp, and you can use the function called hours to pick the hour from it. So from the earlier data frame, right? So we have the whatever the columns we add in a JSON, the additional timestamp is there. Now we are adding new 2 columns. So we have to use the with function. There's a function called with function, which will help you to create a new columns to your data frame. So that is a partition date, and we put the date, and partition hour, we take the hour. Right, when we are writing now we have a full data frame in the data frame 3. This schema will give you both all the column information. This what you see here is basically this data frame. I'm trying to write it into the console. You see the format is console data frame dot write stream, and set the batch interval and mode as update. Okay, I will talk about this output mode sometime. And truncate false is generally when you perform data frame dot show or head whatever, you see the column. If it is a long column, it will be truncated, it says dot dot dot. So if you want to see the full column and full value of your column, then you can use this property truncate false. So it will give you the entire column name and values. And then you see format is console. So in this, so this sync is writing the data into the console just for the debugging purpose. So this, when you go to the production, you will be you should be removed this. For only development purpose, we use this console mode. Then later you can see, and you say start. So the streaming application will start consuming the data and then print the data into console. Here we are writing into HDFS, right? And now to create a subfolders date and hour inside the raw folder, we have to use the partition by. The partition by will help you to write the data in this data frame in a partition based on these partition columns. So you'll have 2 subfolder date and hour inside this raw data, and the data will be written into that. So always whenever you write sync, you have to say this start. This is also the streaming application works. Any question till now?
Yeah, hi Pari. So
Yeah.
actually, I have one question. Like earlier, you have seen we are using using for each batch.
Yeah.
So can you like explain a little bit more about the for each batch, like
Yeah, yeah.
how
We
we
are
can use it over here? Yeah.
sure,
Okay,
sure.
okay, okay.
We are going to use it. So for writing the data into MySQL, we are using. I'm going to explain that. No issues.
Okay, 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 no issue.
Uh, see, Pari,
Yeah.
if I means for the same order, if I need to cancel, it need to be updated for the same record only, right?
Which one?
See, I did an order, okay, in
Yeah,
the
yeah. Correct, correct, correct.
e-commerce side, okay.
Yeah.
So maybe next day I canceled it
Okay.
because I don't want that product.
Okay.
So at that time, already we did our streaming, right,
Okay.
and
Okay.
loaded into our target path.
Yeah.
Now we have to update that. We have to update that record. Am I correct?
Okay. Yeah.
Otherwise, it will be a duplicate, and the order ID. I mean, so the order data will be taken by the delivery teams, and they will process the order, right?
Yes.
If
Yes.
they didn't get. So how we are going to handle? I mean, so as we are directly dumping without validation or without checking of previous existing records, the incremental load, I can say, insert and
Yeah.
update
Yeah.
in case of
Okay.
existing.
Yeah. So that actually see this here what we are doing is we are processing the data. So this is okay. This functionality, yeah, that is also possible. That is generally happens in the application layer itself, right? So you go and update the order there. This is more of getting the order placed data for the some kind of analysis or analytics. Okay, so you may
Right.
also take it like, say example, if you don't want you don't want to consider the data which is got cancelled, then you have to maintain the status. Actually here we don't have status. You look at here, so you have to, what are the functionality you can build based on the data also should be based on that, right?
Right.
See
Okay.
this,
Let's take. Okay.
Mm.
Okay. Can you go a little bit up? Let me talk on that same in that scenario. So now,
Yeah.
okay. Let's take a DMart. Okay, DMart application,
Yes.
which is a e-commerce. Okay. So I did some order. Okay. There is a flexibility of update of before delivery. There is a before packing. We can update the items, right? So there now previously I added laptop. In the same order I can add maybe headset also, right?
Yeah.
At that time, for the same order ID, it need to be updated, right? The items.
Yes.
Now the product name will be multiple, laptop and headset.
Yeah.
In the first streaming, it may be a only laptop, but in the second, after 30 minutes, I may change my mind and I added one more item in the same order.
Yeah.
So at that time, how it will, I mean, we have to update the existing record, right?
Yes.
So how it is going to be happen? I mean,
So that's what I'm saying. Those are and all basically the application. It's more of application development activity. So this is those kind of requirements you will not perform on this distributed computing or here. But actually, see, because order updating order.
No, I'm not talking about the application development. See, I'm getting the data as a producer. When I changed my order, producer will generate this new record for me, right? So order ID will be the same for me.
Correct.
Just producer will, I mean, application from application, producer will generate the data. Am I correct?
Yes. Yes.
So now producer generate that data for the same order ID. Another item is added. Okay. Now you are going into, I mean, we are consuming that data as it takes after 30 minutes, we got it, right?
Yeah.
And it going to be loaded into our new partition next hour.
Yes.
Now in previous hour at 7 o'clock, you have laptop. At 8 o'clock, you have laptop and headset. Now if if we analyze the data, okay, it will be a duplicate for me. Because I need, I should have only, if I did count of the things, okay.
Yeah, Mahendra, let me explain you the situation. Okay, I got your point.
Mhm.
So generally, whenever you will create a stream application, there will be change data capture. Okay, so in change data capture, there is a event type. Okay, so that event type will handle that delete, update, whatever it is. Okay, so suppose that if it is an insert, first when you will get your order, then it would be an insert. Suppose that if you want to defer your order, like you want to cancel your order, then that event will come again with a delete event. Okay, and then if you want to update your order, then that same event will come with update event.
So it will go and sit into the
Yeah,
same
so
partition.
there would be 3 records.
Correct.
Okay, there would be definitely there would be 3 records, and you need to develop your application like that. Your application will handle that situation, and your IDBMS would have 3 records. So you will take means that record which would be the latest time stamp.
Okay.
Yeah, so it will be handled like that.
Yeah, so the like as he pointed out, so that comes under the CDC, right? The change data capture. So here I am not reference, it's more of dumping my data into the HDFS. And HDFS, we don't do the update, right? So what generally we do is, if you want to build that CDC logic, so generally CDC logics, when you write into, when you are going to write the data into the target, right? So since what we write is more of not referencing the data, existing data, we dump it, more of this is dump, right? Or if you want to build the CDC logic, then you have to maintain, right? So like the event type, right? The event type, it's more of you have to perform the SCD logics, right? So the standard, slowly changing dimension,
Right.
changing dimension logic, you have to build it. That's one way to approach it. Or you can apply that, you can actually do it in the application side if you want, because in RDBMs, or if you want to do it here also, we can do that using that. So that is, we have to refer getting the existing data and then performing the whether the record is a new data. All this event type you have to again capture here only. So we are, so you have to refer, you have to do the, so but you cannot do it on the streaming data frame. Probably again, we will come back to when we use the MySQL, probably we can build that logic there.
Okay.
Okay, I will tell you in the probably when we go to the MySQL part. But your point is valid. So we can build using the CDC logic.
Okay. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Vidya.
He shared some link also, probably.
Yeah, thanks, Vidya. Yeah, we'll go through.
Yeah, incremental. Thanks for it. Let's go back to this. Okay, so where are we? Yeah, right. So then now we are going to do the aggregates. I'm just doing a simple aggregate. So right. So just you have data frame, right? You can perform the data frame operation like group by on the order type. So we perform the aggregate. We use the aggregate function called sum. Right? So there is a function called ag, and you pass the aggregate function, and you, so the ag function can be applied on the group by. When you use group by, you can use the ag function and pass the aggregate function, which will be applied on what column you want to apply. Then you select those columns, or the aggregated data. So this will return you the data frame which has the column of card type and the sum, the aggregated column, which is will be sum of the column name will be like sum of order amount. You can rename it to total sales. So it will be a sales, the order, total order quantity, order amount based on the card type. It's one of the simple aggregate we perform here. And then actually I created it in the table. I created a column name as card type. So I just renaming my column from order card type to order type. Otherwise, you can ignore this part, this line of. Since I created a table with the card type, I'm just renaming into this column. Now the for each batch comes, right? You have a data frame now. We want to write the data into MySQL. So there is no direct sync available in the Spark structure streaming to write the data into MySQL. So we make use of the for each batch. Since I told you, till now, whatever operation we are using, we are performing on the streaming data frame, right? It's not a batch data frame, right? So when you want to iterate this data frame, there is a for each batch. So each so you can each batch, so each iteration you will give one data frame. So that data frame basically the batch data frame. You can think of as a streaming database is nothing but collection of batch database. Each batch database will have the data which is consumed for certain particular certain batch interval. So the batch interval we set is the 5 seconds. So whatever the 5 seconds data we consume, that will be inside this data frame. So for each, you have to pass your anonymous function. So we are calling this lambda function. This is your input, right? So this is the data frame, and we are going to call this save to MySQL table. Okay, and then we pass this data frame. This epoch ID is nothing but kind of batch ID, which the framework gives. You can make use of it, or if you want to just, it's up to you. And then this function is a normal Python function, right? As takes input as a data frame and a epoch ID as a batch ID and a table name. So this is a function I'm calling in the for each batch. When you use for each function, I'm passing this I'm passing this Python function to write the data into MySQL. Now what we do on this function, we get the data frame. So the JDCB URL is, I think we can make use of the whatever we formed it up, or you just form the JDBC URL. And then we are going to create a column called batch ID. I want to maintain the batch ID in my data frame, or in the target the data which I'm writing it. Then, so when we use a with column to create a new column, and comma. So when you use with column, the column value, right? So basically, you have to derive from the existing data frame column. Okay. Otherwise, you have to pass it as a literal. It's a single value. So we have to use as a literal. Okay. So the function is a lit function, and you pass this value batch ID column. So this value will be in this data batch ID column. And finally, this is the batch data frame. You can use the normal data source API, data frame dot write of JDBC. You pass all your MySQL information. So one is JDBC URL, table name, and the append mode, whether you want going to do append or overwrite or that. And this is the DB properties, nothing but your host name, username, password, and the driver. So this is the normal data frame write operation. So what is going to happen is every batch interval, this function is going to call, and it is going to write the data into MySQL. Now we can perform the CDC logic here. Okay, what we can do? So we can read a data frame, right? You can pass this information, you can pass the information and get the data frame, and then find out do the join and find out the event logic and just update your record. The CDC logic will be built here if you want to build it.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Sorry, thanks.
So this is how this streaming application is built here. Okay, so example, if you want to write it into Kafka, okay, so I discussed till this part, right? This I'm also printing the aggregated data in the console also, and after that I just have commented this code. Say example, if you want to publish it to another Kafka topic and consume it in the different Kafka application. So what you need to do is, when you publish the data into Kafka, so you have to put all the column values into one column called value. So because Kafka takes as a message, right? So your entire column information as a data frame, you have to convert it into a value column. Okay. So you see here in the top, when you consume the data from Kafka, your data frame has these columns, right? Similar way, when you publish also, you have to send it this way. So you have to form the key and value and send it to the Kafka. So that's the reason. So I'm just using any column we can use for key, because we are not going to use the key, and we are forming value column. So there is a function called toJSON, and also the named struct column is there. Okay, so and you pass column column name and the column value. Okay, so then the entire whatever column you pass here, that will be formed as a JSON message, and then that data frame you have to write it into the Kafka, like data frame dot write stream of, you pass your format as Kafka and the Kafka information. So this will be written into the another Kafka topic which you mentioned here. You can think of as a Kafka only knows key and value. So that's the reason we are forming this value and writing into Kafka topic. So if you want to try it out, you can just uncomment this portion of code and you can try it out. Okay, let me run this program probably just to visualize what is going on. I will start the my VM. Okay, sudo MySQL. I'll just make sure Kafka is running. You have to run the producer program as well. Start. I'll also start Kafka. And I will run the producer program. Okay. Fine. So we have producer program. I will open one more window. Okay, here what is? I'll just check. Okay, we are publishing some 100 message. First, let's try with this. I have to activate my Python virtual environment. So DataMaking environments, DataMaking. Okay, so we have sorry been. Actually, in Windows, the virtual environment will have something called script. I was just trying with this source. Done. Let's run this. Okay, so in another window, I'll run the streaming application. And I will also open one more window to see the MySQL table. I should have dropped actually. Yesterday I published some message for that also. I'm logging into MySQL using root user. Use ecom maybe. So we will use so there was a 3 batch which is published. Now let's see what is happening here. It's dealing with something. And some of my data is lost, not our Kafka either. Data lost because of that. Okay. So it is publishing here in the streaming application. Okay, let's wait for next batch. Okay, so this is the raw data we are publishing it in the console. I'll open one more window. Hopefully we given the local path, right? So we can just I'm actually not running Hadoop, so I just given the local path. Till the data is not come here. Okay, we will check the MySQL table. Okay, this. In the batch one, we have this. Okay.